Sharks are not the maniacal man-eaters of Jaws. That is a nice Hollywood story. It makes for a good book and movie, but it simply is not the truth of an animal that the scientists know is a very fascinating animal, and in fact a very fragile animal. These animals don't go around eating all the time and just eat and eat and eat.
Millions, many millions of sharks are eaten by people every year. So really the sharks should be more afraid of us than we are of them.
Right now all indications is that we are overfishing. We're overfishing most of the sharks on the east coast of the United States.
I believe there is a global decline in shark population because of the extensive fishing now for sharks. So many parts of the shark body can be used. The cartilage, the skin can be used for leather, and the meat without bones can be used as excellent protein, fixed in a variety of ways, and the fins, of course.
Unlike all the other fish in the sea, they don't spawn millions of eggs. These animals, first of all, they take 12 or 15 years to grow up to adulthood, like our own species. They have to be teenagers before they can reproduce. And then when they become reproductively active, many of them only produce a very few young every other year. They give live birth, by and large, and for that reason, when you wipe them out of an area, you can't just leave them alone and expect them to bounce back within a couple of years, because like the great predators on land, they won't be back for generations.
If the shark was once considered an enemy to man, man is certainly should consider himself an enemy to the shark right now.
In the mid-1980s, commercial shark fishing in the U.S. suddenly came to life. Consumption of shark shot upward both here and abroad. In 3 years, the U.S. catch multiplied more than 5 times. Many new fishermen got into the business, including a young Floridian who just finished his degree in marine biology.
My boat is the Marcy out of Ponce Inlet, Florida, and it's a typical longliner. It's 40 feet long, draft to 4.5 feet. I carry a longline spool with capacity of 10 miles of monofilament line. During a typical shark set, I will put out roughly 8 miles of line with approximately 600 hooks. Our typical operation starts around 6 in the evening. We leave out, generally run 3 or 4 hours to wherever we're going. During this time, we cut bait, put it on the hooks, get everything ready to go. Shark fishing has been a good way to make a living. I can't say it's an easy way because it's difficult. The fish are large and you have to spend time on the ocean, and not necessarily when the weather is right. You have to go when the fish are around, and sometimes that means doing a lot of rough weather. A lot of strained backs and pulled muscles and things like that. But it's been a lucrative means of making a living. On a typical shark longline set, I'll start by putting the gear over by tossing out some buoys feeding out some line to a series of weights that we use as anchors. And our long line is fished on the bottom, and we hold it down to the bottom with weights. Once the anchor is out at one end of the gear, we just drive away from it. We clip on gangents, 4-foot gangents, with a nifty little long line clip. Basically, that's how we long line. We just do this repetitiously until 600 hooks are out. And then once it's over, this is usually around midnight, then we just anchor up for the night, catch a few hours sleep until daylight comes the next morning. And then it's our turn to start working on it, to pull it back up, retrieve it. And we just tie it back onto the reel, engage the hydraulics, and pull the line up. We don't pull the line to us, we drive the boat over the top of the line and pull it straight up off the bottom. And take off the hooks and the weights in reverse. And out of 600 hooks, we may have 15 or 20 sharks. Sometimes we'll have 100 sharks. I'm really a different kind of commercial fisherman. I don't really need those the 10,000-pound trips every time, but I don't need the great big catches all the time just to, quote, survive. I can do very well on 500 pounds of shark a day. People always ask me if I've seen a decline in populations of sharks since I've started fishing, and I honestly will answer yes. There's been a tremendous decline. When you look at overall catches coming into the dock, you really don't see a decline because you don't see the effort that's gone into making the catch at sea. People will spend an extra day at sea or put on several extra miles of longline gear, a couple hundred extra hooks. You don't see that when you see landings come into the dock. Actual dockside landings could remain the same or be actually higher, but the effort is much higher.
Not all who fish sharks for a living see eye to eye with Sander. A few deny that shark populations have declined at all. In commercial fishing, it's not uncommon to fish a species almost to the vanishing point, then switch to another and do it again. Sander's education in marine biology has given him a broader view and a concern for saving the species he catches.
This fish is covered with mating scars. When they mate, the male bites on and really does some terrible damage to the female.
Pound for pound, the most valuable part of a shark is not the meat, but the fins. If a fisherman can sell the meat for $1 per pound, he may get $15 a pound for the fins. The fibrous fin tissue is a coveted ingredient in Oriental cookery. Once the fins are removed, Sander will dress out the rest of the carcass. Nothing usable is wasted. He barbecues the less marketable portions himself, or gives them to friends or charities. The sharks are dressed and packed on ice in a matter of minutes.
Tiger, tiger, where'd you go? We got involved in the National Marine Fisheries tagging program through a shark that we caught that had a tag in it. We sent the tag in, found out that they were, tagging sharks all over the place, and that's something I wanted to do. We turn loose a lot of species that we can't use, things like small tiger sharks and hammerheads and a few others that are undesirable or have, another place in the market, but are excellent research tools. Stick a tag in it and it migrates all over the world. You can really learn a lot from it. And that's been a fascinating study that I've really enjoyed being involved with. Through different associations like that, your name gets spread around as a cooperative fisherman who knows what who knows his shark parts and can be relied on to get you the right parts if you ask for it. So a lot of researchers have asked us over the years to get them either sand tiger embryos or vertebra for age and growth studies or, various things. And through participation like this, we learn a lot more ourselves. And it's been really fun. Swim!
Sander is one of 5,000 commercial and sport fishermen who tag sharks for the National Marine Fisheries Service. These volunteers carefully record data on size, sex, and species, along with the longitude and latitude where the sharks are tagged. There are some commercial fishermen who decline to take part since the data may be used to support regulations on shark fishing. Unlike most other commercial fisheries, the shark fishery has been completely uncontrolled by the federal government. In the past, there was little need for protection. American consumers have always scorned shark meat, but now that's changed.
Oh, there comes a nice one. There's a hammerhead. Nice big hammerhead.
Sander will
Yeah,
release this
this guy's,
scalloped hammerhead because hammerhead meat does not keep as well as other kinds.
You know, this one knows the tag's coming. Perfect shot.
The fins could be sold, but Sander would not kill the fish for its fins alone.
One for science.
The sudden upsurge in U.S. commercial fishing for sharks has less to do with new tastes at home than with political events halfway around the world. When trade was restored with China in the 1980s, one thing the Chinese wanted from the outside world were shark fins. The fins had been scarce in the decades of communism. They were the main ingredient in a favorite dish more than 2,000 years old.
Shark fin soup is a real delicacy. In fact, it's too popular because it's starting to reduce the populations of sharks.
In Hong Kong, it costs you about $20 US per serving. In the United States, you may get it in a Chinese restaurant for $6 a cup.
Shark fins are easily converted to cash. Dressing and cooling the meat of the shark takes far more work for a lower profit. This has led to the vicious and wasteful practice of finning, removing the fins from a shark and dumping it back in the ocean alive. A finless shark cannot swim well enough to catch its food. Gradually, it starves to death, a wasting process that may take weeks or months. Finning is the work of fast buck types rather than serious commercial fishermen.
And I think it is something that we have to improve for the total utilization of the shark if harvested. If not, just let them swim around and reproduce.
Shark fin is more than food, according to some Chinese devotees. They believe the soup has medicinal properties. They also believe it will soup up the user's romantic life. For most Americans, shark fin soup is simply a new and exotic treat to sample. At the Shilin restaurant in Port Orange, Florida, shark fin is the specialty of owner and chef Robert Fung.
Now the big market is in China because we Chinese people like the face. Okay, you have waiting, you have party, you want to show the people, I give you the best. Okay, the first dish come out is shark fin soup. We believe, in Chinese, we believe more strong animal can give you more strong powers. You eat the power of their body. See, like we Chinese eat the lion, elephant, So same thing on the shark. Now we take out the fins. After boiling now, it's already done. Been 12 hours cooked. So now we go cook now.
Most of the flavor of shark fin soup comes from the other ingredients added by the chef. In this case, Fung is preparing a soup that includes several other seafoods and a selection of vegetables in a chicken broth. He also makes a shark fin soup that has the actual chicken meat in it. The shark fin fibers are remarkable for the smoothness of their texture. It takes long hours of cooking to produce this, since the raw fibers are stubbornly tough and stringy. In this age of microwaving, shark fin soup is one dish that still must be made the old, slow way, or not at all. Oriental scholars suggest that shark fin soup may have originated more than 20 centuries ago in a time of famine. A Chinese peasant feeling extreme pangs of hunger may have boiled a discarded shark fin in desperation and thereby made a discovery that would play havoc with shark populations in the era of space travel. In the meantime, Chinese physicians would begin to use shark fin as a specific against a wide range of illness, arthritis and diabetes and even cancer. Such benefits, however, have not been medically proven in the West.
That's a shark fin soup. Seafood and the shark fins.
An uncontrolled commercial fishery is the biggest threat to sharks, but not the only one. Sport fishermen have sometimes taken a needless toll, removing shark jaws as trophies and then leaving the carcasses to rot. Now, all that is changing. Sportsmen are releasing their sharks unharmed, often tagging them in the process. Official world records are now kept for 27 species of sharks, alongside the records kept for tarpon and sailfish and marlin. A few experts have even begun to fish sharks with fly tackle. It's no easy task to bring one of these big, powerful fish to boat, using equipment originally designed for pan-sized trout in tumbling brooks. The tackle has been beefed up a bit, but that's the only change. One of the stars of this growing sport is Ralph Delph, a busy guide from Key West, Florida. On this trip in the lower Keys, he'll be using a half-filleted barracuda as shark bait. The cuda hangs from a rope on the bow, and its scent will draw a shark into casting range, if all goes well.
All right, ready to do some fishing? Let's catch a shark.
The species that Delph hopes to catch is the lemon shark. It takes a fly readily and fights like hundreds of trout in harness.
All right. Well, our wind finally picked up for us, Jim. This is good. This will move us across the flats real good. All right. The key to this really is the scent corridor. What happens when you cut that barracuda and start drifting like this, you lay a scent line out there, and the corridor is just like a highway. The shark, as he comes in that corridor, he's going to be zigzagging back and forth through it. You're tempted to cast at the shark, and you don't want to do that. You want to fish with your lure in the corridor. He'll eat the lure if the lure is in the corridor. If it's outside the corridor for some reason or other, they'll swim right on past it. In my boat, I've taken the 7 largest fish ever taken on fly rod. All of those are sharks, bull sharks. And the largest one is, I think 387 is the current record on that. Windy day like this just makes it a little more challenging. The fly rod seems to be the epitome of angling art, if you will. There is an art to casting a fly rod. When a man can take a fly rod and cast 30 yards of fly line, lay it right where he wants it, and then entice the fish to take. There's an art to that. Here he comes. All right. Oh, what's he done? Attack position. Yep. There we go. Oh, right. He attacked. Wow. And zoom, we're away to the races. All right. Oh boy, he's running. Ha! Well, look at him go. Oh, head shake and run. Head shake and run.
See that attack posture just before he grabbed that fly?
There you go. Wow. Listen to that line sizzle, sing. Love it. Tell me about it. Oh, pressure him a little harder, maybe I can turn him. What kind of cramps you can get in your hands? Going right in over that white spot, just right. Nice. Turn it. It's a lemon shark, another lemon. This is what we're after today. Whoops, whoa!
When I hook into that fish, there's nobody there but me and that fish. I enjoy it, whether, you don't have to kill the fish to have the fun, and as a matter of fact, it's a rather pleasure to me to not kill the fish. You release him and hope that he lives to generate another generation.
He's in pretty good shape. All right, I'm gonna lift him up, see if you can tail him. Right, all the way on him, all the way on him. Up, all the way around him. Easy, easy, easy. Okay, it's not hurting. So we get this fly back out of him. If we can't get it out, we'll release him as is. Hold him up. He's got nicks on this side of him. Yeah. Sit up. I'm gonna go ahead and just break it. Now I'm just gonna break it. Ready? Yeah. Okay, thank you, Jim.
Yeah.
Enjoyed it, buddy.
Good job, good job.
Enjoyed it. That was a lot of fun. Here's your leader material, a little bit twisted.
Well, I sure get hyped up on just those final stages there.
That's it.
With anglers changing their ways, sport fishing is making a smaller dent in shark populations. Now there are fishing tournaments to help gather scientific data on sharks and to raise funds for biomedical research involving sharks. Ultimately, this research may benefit man.
What is it about the shark that can prevent them from getting cancer? They have a marvelous immune system. They hardly get any diseases. If they get injured, they heal up very quickly. So they're very interesting experimental animals for biomedical research.
The Mote Marine Laboratory at Sarasota, Florida has pioneered this type of research using sharks. The senior scientist in this program at Mote is Dr. Carl Luer. Sharks are vital to the marine environment, and they're just as essential to this ongoing research with its implications for human health.
One of the particular aspects of my research program is that we're trying to understand whether sharks and their relatives, the skates and the rays, have some secrets that they can tell us about their overall health. Observations going back to the late 1800s tell us that sharks have not been found with disease in general, and particularly absent are the tumors. So what I've set out to do is to utilize sharks and skates as laboratory animals, much like you would use rats or rabbits or guinea pigs in typical clinical research. And I've been exposing them to chemical carcinogens to see if we can, in fact, induce tumors in these animals artificially. To make a long story short, in about 12 years of doing this kind of approach, we have yet to produce even the earliest stages of a tissue change, which would be indicative of a tumor formation. In an animal like the shark and skate, we have a unique model system to look at mechanisms of resistance. What can we learn about why the chemicals which normally would produce cancer don't? Are they somehow modified in some way? Once they get to the genetic material where normally they would form a mutation, it does not form a mutation in these animals. Why is that? In these animals whose skeleton is entirely cartilage, therefore no bone, and therefore no bone marrow, where do the immune cells form? Where do the blood cells form that we know are very active in cellular immunology in the higher animals like us? The species of shark that I use is a nurse shark. These animals are easy to feed and easy to maintain in the laboratory. We can put up to 4 of these animals at the 1 to 2 years age size in a tank that's only 4 feet by 3 feet by a foot deep of water. They feed very well and grow very naturally in this size of a tank. Another species of elasmobranch, relative of the shark, that we use in our research is the clear-nosed skate. The advantage of the skate is that we can use it at all stages of its lifetime.
Lure uses skates much like nurse sharks, injecting them with strong carcinogens. So far, the results are the same: no tumors. Unlike sharks, skates are easy to breed in captivity, so Lure has a ready supply for his work. Most sharks give live birth, but skates lay eggs. Once a female clear-nosed skate is fertilized, she produces a new pair of eggs every 4 or 5 days over a period of 6 months. Sharks, skates, and rays may be the only vertebrates that have this amazing resistance to carcinogens. But Lure is making studies which could help combat tumors in higher animals. His homegrown skates come in handy once again. Instead of immatures, like this one, he uses them at an earlier stage of life, straight out of the egg.
The eggs that skates lay are analogous to the egg that a chicken lays. But instead of having a hard, calcium-laden shell, the skates lay an egg which is covered with a more leathery, collagenous egg case. The egg case then performs the same function as the chicken shell. It protects the developing embryo. Skate embryos then develop inside the protective egg case, but we've realized that after about a third of their development, they can be removed from the egg case without altering their development. They will survive as embryos for the last 2/3 of their development. This gives us a hands-on embryo for doing biomedical research with this model animal as a relative of the shark.
Lure injects the embryo yolk sacs with proteins extracted from the cartilage of sharks. Cartilage has no veins, and some of the extracts curb vein growth or vascularization in the skate yolk sacs. Lure is trying to determine exactly which protein is responsible. Someday, this protein might be manufactured and used to treat tumors.
Once this material is produced in larger amounts, then it can be tested for its ability to inhibit the vascularization of solid tumors. If we can, in fact, control vascular spread to a growing solid tumor, we feel that we may be able to control the growth of that tumor.
Sharks have played surprising roles in human medicine. At the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, powdered shark cartilage is being used to make artificial skin for burn victims. Human eyesight has also been aided, as moat scientist Dr. Robert Huter explains.
A number of years ago, someone who was looking at the shark cornea discovered that it has some very unique properties, some features unlike any other vertebrate cornea, and it actually led to the use of shark corneas as a transplant tissue, as a graft tissue for humans. So some humans actually were benefited by receiving shark corneas, which gave them new sight.
Besides his scientific work, Huter serves as chairman of the innovative Gulf Coast Shark Census Tournament, held each spring for the good of sharks and the Moat Lab.
This tournament started about 3 years ago as an idea of a group of sport fishermen who wanted to support shark research at Moat Marine Laboratory. And they wanted to go out fishing for sharks and, of course, kill them in the traditional kill tournament style and then raise some funds for shark research. Well, we were happy to get their support, but we could not condone the killing of sharks so that they could turn the funds over to us and then talk about how great sharks are and that they should be conserved. So we decided to turn the idea on its head and come up with an all-release tournament that would not only benefit shark biology and the sport of fishing, but the sharks themselves. By promoting catch and release of sharks, we get out to the fishermen the idea that these animals are not just out there to be killed, that a good shark is not a dead shark, that they're an important part of the marine ecosystem. They're an important resource for research, for our fisheries, and in the oceans ecologically. And that message gets strongly put across with our tournament, which reaches so many people.
They tend to like those barnacles.
Over there. Yeah.
All right.
You got something right here. Let's go. Take it. Take it.
All right. There we go. We got it. Oh, yeah. It's a little. I'm gonna have to jump in your boat, Bob. There he is.
Yeah.
Another black.
Little black nose. Let's get a picture of it. Hug it. Coming in.
You get it?
Point and shoot.
Point and shoot. Hang on, I'll get him back up here in a second.
Where's the little, just this red button
There
here?
he is, right there, red button. Get him.
Where do I look? Oh, okay.
Right hand side. Go. You got him.
Good
Hang
one.
on now, I'm gonna get him so you can tag.
Okay, we're gonna have to bring it a little bit far forward there, Roy.
You wanna change positions with me?
Yeah, I would.
I think it'll work better, because he's gonna go this way.
Okay.
There we go. Perfect shot at him.
Down,
Good.
pull forward there, Roy.
Get him down there.
A little bit forward. A little bit forward. A little bit more forward.
she didn't like that tagging stuff.
Tagged and released,
Like that tagging
but it ain't
stuff,
released yet.
I think you ticked him off again. I think we stung him.
I think it was a little bit far forward, but it should do the job. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. That's a good tag.
Now, how long will that stay in there?
Some have stayed in 25 years.
Line swing.
Good fish. 3 foot, Bob, right?
No line swing.
I'd say 3 foot total length.
Yeah. About the same size as the other one. We ready to cut him?
Well, that's pretty fish too, isn't it?
Oh, they're
So this is a small species of shark that's real abundant down here.
ready to cut.
Okay, let's go.
You gotta be real careful with this stuff.
It's a beautiful eye.
We'll jump up and grab you.
Boy, that was pretty rough.
Rough scat, wasn't it?
She's gone. Okay, so now let's fill out the tag form. Black nose, 525, and Tampa Bay on a beautiful night, 3 miles east of Egmont Key. Total length is about 3.5 feet, estimated less than 5 miles from shore, female. So let's see, that gave you 3 points.
3 points.
3 chances in the barrel to win $2,500 in cash. It's better than the Florida lottery odds. All right, good fish. In these kill tournaments, it isn't that they significantly affect the population because the number of sharks they take is really a drop in the bucket compared to the, certainly to the commercial fishery. But the problem of kill tournaments is the public image that they put out. And when people realize that these animals are not generally man-eaters, that they're important in the marine environment, and that you can still fish for them and have fun in a tournament by releasing these fish, then we've not only done things to help save sharks, but we've affected our attitude toward our resources in general.
On another boat, another night, another group of anglers competing in the tournament is out for bigger sharks. Pewter gets his tagging gear ready for action, while a bright-colored party balloon is rigged to drift a large bait. The boat rides at anchor in Boca Grande Pass on the Gulf Coast of Florida. A strong current is running, driven by tide and wind. Boca Grande is a premier fishing hole. Big tarpon cruise here on warm nights, and big sharks come to feed on them.
Fish on.
Battle with a heavy shark takes nearly half an hour. Shark fishing is generally more productive at night than during the day because the sharks become more active then. Also, the fight is not quite so grueling when the hot sun is down.
I want to get a length on it before we let her go.
This 7-foot bull shark is a living, emphatic definition of the biological term apex predator. Its position is high atop the food pyramid of the sea. All the creatures beneath it flow bodily into other creatures, and all flow in the end into the flesh of the bull shark and creatures like it. The bull lives along tropical coastlines throughout the world and will venture into brackish and fresh water. It's one of the sharks known to attack man. Yet magnificent as this 7-footer may be, it can't measure up to the sharks that tournament anglers used to expect in these waters. Tigers and hammerheads up to 15 feet long. Today, those sharks are gone.
There you go, Billy.
Yeah, buddy. Again.
Nice fish.
Good morning, fellas.
Yeah. Good morning. Let's go. We got time for one more.
Move ahead several hours to sunset on the undisturbed waters of the Bahama Islands. Preparations are underway for a dive at night, an attempt to capture the unpredictable Caribbean reef shark on film. Underwater filmmaker Jordan Klein Jr. makes sure the lights are set to go.
This instrument will be flooding the whole shark cage, and if the animal comes in close to you, it should light him up.
For bait, bloody slabs of barracuda will be placed near the shark cage.
Okay, she's floating. We're going to take her down so it doesn't bob around too much.
Electrical power for the lights on the shark cage will be conducted via cables from a generator on deck. Everything needs to work flawlessly. A night dive for sharks is a great deal more dangerous than any day trip. The cage is not an option, but a necessity. Statistics collected around the world show that sharks are far more likely to attack at night.
Okay, Spinner, we got it. All right, great. All right, the camera's fine.
Not all sharks are alike, but these Caribbean reef sharks and many other species are more active at dusk and at night than in the daylight. They move more and feed more. Even so, their vision is less sharp, so they may attack objects they would not attempt to eat in the daytime, including humans. When feeding at night, they may rely more heavily on their sense of smell. These waters in the Bahamas are among the best remaining spots in the world to see sharks in large numbers and large sizes. The ocean here is clear and warm, ideal for diving, and the reefs are filled with smaller fishes that make excellent forage for the predatory sharks. The preeminent reason that a wide variety of sharks are so abundant in the Bahamas is not difficult to understand. No market for sharks has been established in the islands, which means commercial fishing for them is virtually non-existent. This ship, a research vessel named the Delaware, could play a key part in stopping the decline of sharks. That decline has been compared to the slaughter of the American bison on the Great Plains in the 19th century, the Great Buffalo Hunt. The unrestrained removal in our own day could be called the Great Shark Hunt. To limit the Great Shark Hunt before it's too late, scientists need to know more about the biology and numbers of the sharks that remain. Fishermen will have to cooperate with scientists, as many already do.
One day where my brother and I were out fishing and we caught this shark, had a tag in it. It was a sandbar shark. And the tag said, take down a measurement and a location and report it to the National Marine Fisheries Service in Rhode Island with a phone number. I called the number, and on the other end was this guy, Jack Casey.
No government could do it alone, really. I mean, you could study certain parts of it and certain elements in certain limited locales, but there was no way you could really have the finances to study all of these sharks the way we do in the tagging program with volunteer assistance from fishermen scattered all along the coast and in Europe.
For every shark that I see, the commercial fisherman sees 50. And that's the reason why I work closely with some commercial fishermen. You know, these guys, I've known them for many years, and they know what's important, what I'm interested on.
People like to get involved in research. I think it was Alexander Graham Bell said the simplest man takes pride in advancing research, and we capitalize on that.
3 times since 1986, the research vessel Delaware has surveyed coastal shark populations from Florida to New York. The National Marine Fisheries Service has invited 2 commercial fishermen, including Eric Sander, to join the scientists aboard. The surveys are done with long line gear similar to Sander's.
These broad-based surveys are a way of trying to get an index of abundance on the species composition, what kind of sharks are here, how many of them, what sizes are they, and it's the sort of baseline information that you can compare from year to year to get sort of a fix on what's happening in the shark population over a very broad area. These animals are migrating and moving along the entire coast and beyond.
The survey results will be joined to what scientists discover from commercial catches and tournament records. Out of this will come a federal management plan for sharks in the Atlantic and Gulf of Mexico. Limits will be set on commercial and sport fishing, and seasons may be closed at times. Sharks and fisheries will survive only if we know when and where to say stop.
And even the most adamant fisherman who might not turn our tags in, for example, deep in his heart, or at least deep in his mind, he knows that everybody can't take everything, whether it's sharks, whether it's mackerel, or whatever.
We in the United States hopefully know more about the problem at this time, at least enough about it that we can take a role and say, look, enough is enough, and let's limit ourselves and let's work with these other countries through treaties and through conferences and international cooperation.
And so I think we're just beginning the sort of the conservation and real concern for the planet Earth, and the sharks are just a part of that.